Hello, hello, namaste, namaste. Baba Sharone here, and got it. Um, just got here in Sarasota, Florida. We have a kind of rainy day, but I just want to say that uh, no matter what the weather can be or the potential to be, from hurricanes to other type of tropical storms to you name it here in Southwest Florida. When it comes to the anchoring light, everything calms down for this to take place. And we are now holding the anchoring light in the physical building itself, as well as online. So we do have options now. I guess we can thank COVID-19. There's a silver lining and everything. And once we were just pretty much, for the local community, but because the way things are now, we are truly now a global family. We are now a global family. That's the level of our consciousness. We're fifth dimensional now, where time and space are irrelevant in terms of us, even on this physical level, connect together through this technology. That's one of the things I was told, is that, of course, our experience is reflective of what's going on within us individually as well as collectively. And as we're moving into the fifth dimension and higher dimensions, time and space, excuse me, is not a barrier. So now, no matter where we are around the world, we have a designated point that we can all come together, so whatever time zone it may be in your area, or no boundaries in terms of geographical boundaries, very much a fifth dimensional trait that we are now experiencing through the technology that is available to us. Now it's taken that technology, and of course, there are those of us, and ideally more and more will wake up, is that everything about life has a spiritual component of it. The truth is, and as you can see from the lecture that I'm going to talk about in just a moment, before I do, I just remind that anybody who's seeing this, know that you are invited to participate in the anchoring light transmission meditation. This has been taken every Monday without fail, over 14 years now. It's hard to believe, but that's the fact. It has taken every Monday evening without fail. It was a divine directive, and here we are 14 years later every Monday. So there's definitely something to it. We do connect with the higher realms, what we call the Amishadai, the family of light. If this resonates with you, you are definitely part of what we call the spiritual hierarchy. We're the boots on the ground because we have the physical body wraps over here. So we play a really important role, as does the other layers of the hierarchy. It's all about the divine plan and where we're going as a species and as a planet into the ascension, a higher level of awareness and consciousness and being. That's our evolutionary process. There's many of us that are here that can be known as light workers or way showers. In the olden days, you may call them prophets, and you have, your mystics, you have your psychics, you have your whole group of a special group of people that were particularly maybe attuned into, very much being aware of a higher or more subtle energy that incorporates this world, this three-dimensional physical world we find ourselves in. And so we are those individuals. If you're here, hey, hi. And part of our job is to wake up. We got to wake up first, but then also we're here to help wake up others, and also whole light on the planet. So there's definitely what is known as the divine plan. The idea of, some people call it ascension, some people call it many different names in different cultures and cycles of time, but we are in this very important cycle now for all of us to wake up. So we will be starting our meditation probably about 5 minutes after 7 or 10 minutes after 7, depending on, that we have some flexibility, how things, kind of organically move. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about was the sense of duality on the higher cosmic levels, what's going on with that. So as I said initially, that, there is a spiritual component to everything. Unless we had the spiritual, we could not have the physical, as simple as that. Really, what's going on really has to do the physical and the very, very, very limited light spectrum that we find ourselves. We have what, five senses? That's it, just five senses in this body wrap. But even our eyes, our perception of light is extremely limited. It's like this, where you have this other levels of light, gamma light, go on and on, is so much more, so much pervasive, okay, than our little spectrum, that's really where all the action is. The action is in the invisible realms, and the invisible realms absolutely do impact our physical realm. So we come into this world, we're born into this world. And one of the things that we kind of notice off the bat is that there seems to be a duality here. There seems to be some polarity, extremes. And if you study the Hermetic principles, you know about the principle of polarity. And the idea of polarity, and you could bring this to the middle pillar of Kabbalah, is that you have these two extremes, but ideally, that middle path keeps the polarities in balance. Okay, so our goal here as light workers, as way showers, as star seeds, okay, as the awakening or the awakened, okay, is to hold light, okay, because the creation is the limitless light, known as the Ein Sof or light, actually in Hebrew, and also unconditional love. That's creation. That's the truth of the source of creation. Now, there's many different layers, and as they moved away from the absolute worlds or the higher worlds, we come down where there's less light, and there's like some integration of some duality now. You could say not light, light and not as much light, maybe is a way of doing it. Okay, where now you're having this duality stuff starting to take place. Some of it is intentional, some of it is just a natural process. There's many layers. There's not just one explanation of everything. Is way, way more too complex for that. But most certainly, I would say that where we find ourselves in now is that there is a duality on our physical, mental, emotional plane that we find ourselves in this earth, in this physical earth. And there is duality in the higher levels as well. So like how we have the spiritual hierarchy of light, there's also the spiritual hierarchy of dark. Okay. And what we want to do ideally, what's going to happen is that it has to go back to the original source, and the original source is love and light. That's the original source. Okay, now what happened along the journey, you may have some, sentient beings that have forgotten that that's the case. And these lower energies, or what we could say maybe the animal energies that we have, like greed and lust and envy and jealousy and all of that. But still, too, we have love and support and kindness and all of that. So we find ourselves now, hey, we have these choices. What are we going to choose? What are we going to integrate more into our lives? And they're both pulling. One may be more intense because it's coming from a more physical level, okay, that would maybe capture our attention. But what's there too, that's in there, that's the intuitive self, is saying, no, there's something more, there's something greater. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how important it is now, always have, but right now, for you to be that independent thinker, for you to really rely on your own intuitiveness, your own divine guidance. And how do you trust that? Well, you walk your path of light. You walk your spiritual path. And as you walk your spiritual path, You will become your skills, your spiritual skills will become more fine-tuned. As you make known the unknown, okay, you begin to expand your consciousness and your awareness. As you move forward on your spiritual path, through the scary parts, nobody said it's a walk in the park, but you have it within you to get to the other side of it. And when you do, there's always a gift. It's the gift of understanding, of wisdom, of knowledge, the higher knowledge that helps you to navigate in this world we find ourselves in. And most importantly, not to be manipulated by it or drawn into what you want to say, the matrix. That's a new term, the matrix. Okay. The ancients had, what is it called? The demiurge. They called it the demiurge. We call it the matrix. So, what happens is that even on higher levels, which is why you have to discern. Now, let's just start off with saying, when I say higher levels, I'm going to say the higher fallen levels. Okay. So, in many scriptures, they do talk about this, but say in Western, biblical, they talk about the right hand of God and the left hand of God. Well, what you could say basically is we're more on the left hand trying to get to the right hand. So there's a whole group, of aeons, what they call aeons. So you may want to call them dimensions. There may be different names for it, but these aeons could fall under a group of, say, fallen. Somehow, in biblical scripture, to talk about the fallen angels, but it has, I guess, something to do with that. That's a legend that's found in all traditions, that something came in and there was a skew. And so the goal now is to get rid of that skew, go back into the original alignment or the unfallen creations, okay, that are out there for us, or planet or solar system or universe, is to get back into that unfallen state. And so there's of us that come here. We have our own experiences and knowledge and all of that too, as we grow and we evolve, and all of that's going on too. But there's also a part of us that knows that we have a mission. We have a sense of mission, something that we're here to do, not only in terms of our own unconscious, our own consciousness. That is the role of everyone, is to grow in their consciousness, as well as to heal themselves. Okay, before we can help others, we have to heal ourselves too. So it's our own personal journey in becoming whole. But when you do take this personal journey of becoming whole, you're contributing to the collective. You're contributing to it. And, you could be just that person that says, I'm bringing wholeness, whatever issues that are holding me back, I'm now going to address it, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. Many of us are the ones to make a change in our own lineage, where there has been patterns, of separation, of sorrow, of pain, of woundedness in lineages and family lineages. And the pattern repeats itself. And many of us are like ones, hey, I'm the one to change that now. I'm not going to continue that on. So there's a lot of things that we are able to do, that we are called to do, and we do it in our own way, but we are aware of it as we continue our spiritual path to unfold, to understand more. And as it says, as you knock, the door does open. It absolutely opens, and you become aware of synchronistic timing, where you just begin to now realize there's a whole nother level of yourself, a higher level of yourself, that is an operation and that you can trust and rely on. Okay, so it happens 100%. It does happen. So in the higher levels, what we just want to say, divine discernment is always important. You know that. You have to discern everything. So it doesn't matter if somebody comes up to you, the physical body around the corner, and says something, and what you feel about that. Same thing too. If you have sense of presence or something like, I'm not feel comfortable, guess what? You could say leave. Okay, go. No, because you're a sovereign being. And not only that, you're a powerful sovereign being, which the ascended masters are trying to say, hey, guys, you are so powerful. You have to remember that. And you have to remember what you're connected to. We are connected to the family of light. Okay, once you know that that is what you are, okay, the Christ light, the Maitreya light, that is powerful. It is the most powerful. So you never have to be concerned. You carry this light, and as you focus on building that light within you, you're absolutely fearless. And also, you want to remember that you need to take charge of you, your inner guidance, because when you start trusting your own inner guidance, when you start doing your spiritual disciplines or whatever it is that you do, your commitment to walk on the path of light, okay, to really work on the higher heart of compassion and unconditional light, that's the pathway to mastery. That's what the masters have done. Okay, and that's what they're calling us to do. And then when you do that, okay, you become independent in your thinking, in your beingness. And guess what? You can't be manipulated. You cannot be impinged with other agendas, whether it's coming from this physical level or on higher levels. Okay, you would begin to remember your dream state and just how powerful you're in your dream state when you were clear in what you're aligned to, which is the Amish Shaddai, the family of light. That's who we are. That Christ consciousness, that Maitreya consciousness, the thing that comes from unconditional love, the compassionate heart, as avatars have told us. Okay, knowing, loving God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. That's our driving. And that is who? The Supreme One, the one and only, the God of gods, known as El Elyon, Yod He Bod He, by many different names, but that is the source of creation. So when you are committed to that, and divine guidance will tell you what's your next step in your spiritual path, you start to practice, being as compassionate as you can, being as discerning as you can, working where you are more in control of your emotions as opposed to your emotions controlling you. You're away on your path of mastery. And it's time for all of us. You will be in your own sphere of influence, a powerful light. So powerful that if you walk into a room of chaos, your presence will calm things down. That's how powerful. So, with that, I want to remind you how powerful you are. Be your independent, sovereign self. Trust your own intuition. You don't have to go along with the crowd. Your crowd is the ascended crowd of light. Okay, that's your higher self and all that you're connected to in that light. You are part of the divine plan. We're here to wake up others, anchor light to the planet, and move along the ascension. Something to really look forward to. And remember, you have influence on everything. Your choice does matter. So with that, I'm going to say namaste to our Facebook family of light. We will see you next week. And we are now going to start our anchoring light transmission.